everybody. Just wanted to do this quick message. I love that God gives so much perspective, even on a simple thing. I just love it so much. But I was just doing some reflecting since Friday. My pastor, First Lady, did a wonderful fellowship. And it was pretty much about, the weights that we carry, right? Especially as women, carry a lot. But the perspective that I got, she focused on Hannah, and the perspective that I got, Hannah, she prayed, she got, was praying because, and being provoked, right, by Penina, right, because Penina had all these children, and Hannah didn't produce, not one child. So Hannah is just really just in this mode of, God, are you gonna do it for me? When you gonna do it? How you gonna do it, right? So my perspective, because I just was thinking about what was all on what she was producing, right? She was gonna give birth to a judge, right? She was gonna give birth to a prophet that had a heavy assignment on his life, right? He was anointing kings, and he had this huge assignment on his life, so you think about even just Samuel is heavy in the Bible, right? So what if Hannah had gave up? What if she decided, hey, this is what it is gonna be, I'm just not gonna believe, but I just think about what God does for us and how it's just a part of such a big fabric of our lives, right? It's such a big fabric. We're all pieces of one huge big fabric, right? And that's what changed my perspective when it came to when I started to focus inward and on myself. And yes, you have your human emotions with it, but when I started focusing on just the bigger picture, right? I should have just said in the beginning, just to focus on the bigger picture, that, God is so strategic in how he makes us feel individually that what he does for us is just for us, right? But at the same time, it's like he's cutting this pattern to fit into this big plan, this big quilt, right? That he has already, that's gonna fit. So even if it fits into, because, if you desire the Lord, you'll desire the things of him. And it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy how he makes that, where it's like, oh, it's all about us. But then you're just looking like, well, actually it's fitting into a big old fabric, of things. It's purpose. It's purpose at the end of the day. And I just want us to think about that. Sometimes even if it's a delay, or you feel like it's a delay, or if it feels that, things aren't happening, or God, you promised me, but he may be preparing, getting that other side of the fabric, getting that other side of the quilt together, so then when it's time for him to do what he needs to do for you, it's going to fit in that quilt. Because we have to remember, even God was dealing with Eli and his sons, right? So time had to be perfect. He might have tried to be giving grace to Eli, giving him time to get your sons together. When we talk about sons, Hophni and Phinehas, they were defiling the temple. They were doing things. They were, taking advantage of offerings. They were taking advantage of the women. They were just taking things, so Eli maybe kind of caused a blind eye to things. He probably knew, but he just kind of I'm going to let God deal with it. And it does say that in the text when Samuel went to him and told him what the Lord said. But, God had to raise up this prophet to sit, right? And ultimately kind of be a replacement to Eli. He had to raise up this prophet just to sit, just to deliver that message. Because one thing about it, God is a just God. Right? He will not judge you or do things without him giving you ample opportunities to get it right. And you know, so that was his chance. He raised up that prophet, which ultimately was a promise to Hannah, which was the child that she cried for, right? That had to wait for that time for him to sit there and tell Eli, this is what the Lord said. You got to deal with your sons, right? You deal with your sons. Hey, I'm going to get them. So then here goes Eli. Well, let the Lord do what he going to do. How prideful, right? But I'm just saying that all to say, what you're waiting for is part of a bigger picture. And God won't give us the bigger picture. You may not even know, even when it does fit in that picture, you may not even know. You may not even be alive to see it being what you're waiting on to be part of a bigger picture. So just want to leave that there, drop that there. But it was a blessing to me because, you know, in my season of waiting, I think we're always waiting on something, aren't we? We always have to change our perspective. And you have to really know and love the nature of God to understand it's part of a bigger picture. I'm not the only one. Even though he is so mindful to consider me, to always feel like you're always here with me every time. That is just like the wondrous power of God. You know, that he makes it seem like you're the only one in the universe, right? He knows everything. He even knows the hair on your head. How many other people? How many other things? He's amazing, right? So he makes you feel like that, but yet you are still part of a pattern of what he has already designed. So what always helps me is just to when I think about things, is to always like, Lord, you see all of this, you know, and it gives me comfort because I know the Lord will never forsake me or will never leave me. So the fact to say that, you know, you see this, you know, just to know that it's part of a plan, it's part of his pattern and what he wants to do. So I just want to leave that there. Gotta go. And I'm trying to keep these videos rolling out and thoughts going. So catch you later. Bye-bye.